Welcome to our next reflection in this block, Awakening of Faith. I told you it is our last reflection in this block. You remember we began our reflections with the experience of a Samaritan woman. She comes to Jesus. She encounters Jesus. And in the presence of Jesus Christ, of God, she learns and she experiences the truth of who she is. The beauty, the goodness, dignity, and that love. And today I would like to end this blog, these reflections, with the experience of another woman, not from the Bible, but from one of my missions in Sarawe, Africa, Botswana. The nature of love between the two people. The nature of love is sharing. Anyone who is truly in love with other person is willing to share, is longing to share. Those who think and plan and act for themselves only, they have not yet experienced love. They know. Jesus, God is love, says St. John in his first letter, chapter 4, verse 16. God is love. And then he says in his gospel, the Gospel of John, chapter 3, verse 16, he says, God loved this world so much that he gave his only Son. The sharing, the nature of God's love, the sharing of his own Son. So that anyone who believes in him, in Jesus Christ, might not perish, but has eternal life. So today, I will share with you that experience of a young woman, 35 years old, a mother of 3 children, who is sick of HIV/AIDS. At that moment, I didn't know it. And she wants to share, out of love, share her experience with the community of the church. You remember I told you about that pilgrimage, bicycle pilgrimage, 1,500 kilometers for HIV/AIDS people. And so many people were engaged, involved in the prayers every day. And she was one of them. And in that process, she experienced personal presence of Jesus Christ in her life. And in that encounter with Jesus Christ, she experienced the beauty, goodness, love, dignity of who she is, who truly she is. And out of that experience of love, now she is willing to share her sickness, her experience with the community of the church. We have to take into account this stigma and discrimination. People sick of HIV/AIDS, they come across with a huge experience from the society, experience of stigma and discrimination. They are treated in the society like lepers. It was Wednesday afternoon. I'm coming from my bicycle exercises. Coming back to mission. And I see a young woman sitting by the tree. So I come to her. And she says to me, Father, I would like to share with the community of the church the experience of HIV/AIDS. I look at her and I am just wondering, who is that person she wants to share? Who is sick of HIV/AIDS? Somebody from her family, or maybe a close friend. But then she says, Father, I am sick of HIV/AIDS. I look at her and my first thought, how brave you are. But then I recognize it is not braveness. It's not that she's brave. Without love, there is no person who can be brave to such a point. I corrected myself and I say, how much you have experienced God's love in your life and how much you have experienced your own love in the presence of God. So out of loving herself, she wants to share now. She wants to share her own experience with the people in the community of church. So I tell her, okay, perfect. This is beautiful, but do not feel obliged, stressed out until Sunday. On Sunday morning, before the Mass, come again and tell me, confirm, either you want to share or not. Be free, okay? So on Sunday morning, she comes to me and she says, Father, I want to share. So after reading the Gospel, I look at the people gathered in the church, more than 250 people, children, young people, women, men. So I tell them, listen, today we don't have a homily, we don't have sermon. There is someone from you who would like to share the experience of HIV/AIDS. They look at me. And then they look at the woman who comes to the pulpit. They know her. Everybody knows her. And then she says, I would like to share with you the experience of HIV/AIDS. At this moment, nobody knows. Everybody is wondering who that person is who is sick of HIV/AIDS. And then she says, I am sick of HIV/AIDS. The silence in the church. I never experienced such a silence. And I look at them, 250 people. Many of them, they would like to hide their faces. Why? Because many of them, they are experiencing personally or someone in their own family who is sick of HIV/AIDS, but they are so afraid to share, to display with others, or would say they don't have that experience of love to share. And now this woman, this young woman, she says, I am sick of HIV/AIDS. Quiet. Perfect silence. And then she adds, but I'm still the child of God. I am still loved by God. Perfect moment. They look at her. And I can see they really do not know what to think about it. And she carries on. After she ends the sharing, we continue the liturgy of the Mass. When we come to the moment of sharing the sign of peace, one of a woman who is accompanied that young woman sick of HIV/AIDS, she comes to the altar and she says, Father, today we like to change the way we share the sign of peace. And I look at her and I say, so what is your idea? She says, because usually people, they just bow their heads or shake their hands with the neighbors at their sitting. But she says, today, we would like that woman to stand in front of the altar, the way you stand and you give the Holy Communion. So she comes to the front of the altar and you ask if anybody would like to come to her and say or share the sign of peace with her, is very welcome. And I got scared. I was worried, knowing this experience of stigma and discrimination. I was worried. But then I say to her, okay, let's the Holy Spirit run the show. So she comes in front of the altar, and I'm telling you, everyone, every single person, a child, a young person, a woman, mother, men, that is important, men, they were queuing, they are queuing to come to her. And they don't say only, peace be with you. No. They shake her hand and they embrace her. And then I can hear the cry. There's a cry. They are crying. People in the church are crying. And that is not a cry of fear, pain, suffering. It's a cry of gratitude. They are so thankful to God for this experience of love. It was my first time as a Catholic, as a priest, as a missionary, to experience the joy of God's presence, God's love in the community of the church. A few days later, the young woman, sick of HIV/AIDS, she comes to the mission and she says, "Father, for many months I was so scared to tell my children about my sickness. I was really scared. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to love them. But after that Mass, they came to me. They cried. And they just kissed me, embraced me. We love each other. We are alive. I am still sick, but we have new life." So this awakening of faith is your personal encounter with Jesus Christ. And in that presence with Jesus Christ, personal recognition, learning, experience of truly who you are, your dignity, the image and likeness of God written right in you, and that God's love. I'll try to invite you for our next block, a new block, which I call the Bible and faith. Or let me put the other way, the Bible and the experience of intimacy with God. There is no intimacy, there is no love with other person unless we come personally to that person, we listen to that person, we spend time with that person. So the Bible is a concrete moment, concrete experience that you listen to Him. You take the Bible into your hand and you spend time with Him. That's how we are going to build and experience that intimacy, faith with Jesus Christ. Welcome to our next session and have a very good day.